Welcome to another Meetings in Math. This is another bonus lesson. This is multiplying and dividing rational numbers. Really, it's more about how do I multiply and divide fractions. I know some of you might be going, oh, I don't remember how to do this. That's okay. That's what this is here for. You're going to need a pen or a pencil. Your Jaguar Jots has some problems on page 27 that we're going to use. And as always, bring your problem solving skills because we have lots to do. Okay, so we're not going to do all of the problems that are on here. We're just going to do a handful, but enough that hopefully it'll help you remember how to do them. So when you multiply and divide, you move straight across on the numerator and straight across on the denominator. Remember to go ahead and pull your negative sign up to your numerator to make it easier. So we're going to do -5 times 1 over 4 times 3. Rewrite your problem. We go ahead and we always show a little bit more than we need to because we want to be thorough and we want to make sure we don't make silly mistakes by doing too much in our head. So -5 times 1 is a -5 and 4 times 3 is 12. 5 doesn't go into 12. This is already reduced. Let's go ahead and write that up at the top. Always reduce. Let's go ahead and jump on over to number 2. It's multiplication. So we're going to do 8 times 7 and 7 times 10. Now there are multiple ways that you can reduce. I'm going to go ahead in this problem. I'm going to show you both ways. One of the ways is to do reducing before you multiply. So for example, I notice I have a 7 and a 7, or 7 over 7, and you can just reduce it to 1, or what some people call canceling. So 7 over 7, they just go like that, and I'm done. So this is a 1, and this is a 1. And so I have 8 times 1, which is just 8, and 1 times 10, which is 10. Now I could have done some more reducing right here, but I also want to show you the other way to reduce. The other way to reduce is when you get to here, you realize, oh, 8 and 10 have a common factor. They have a common factor of 2. So I can divide top and bottom by 2. This is really like dividing by 1, right? 2 over 2 is 1. And so 8 divided by 2 is 4. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. So your answer is 4/5. It's up to you how you reduce. It really doesn't matter. It's totally a personal preference. You're going to notice that when I do problems, I do all of my reducing that I can possibly do before I multiply so that I'm only multiplying small numbers rather than big numbers. Again, it's a personal preference. Let's go ahead and skip all the way down to number 5. Number 5 has something that tends to trip people up, and it's the fact that this -2 is over 1. You can't forget that. So let's rewrite that one. The numerator is -2 times 3, and the denominator is 1 times 7. I'm checking for the 7. The 7 doesn't go into -2 or the 3, so I'm going to multiply straight across now. -2 times 3 is a -6. 1 times 7 is 7, and it's reduced, and I'm finished. Number 6 is a little bit harder because it has the -2 in here, -2 and 2/3. Before I can do this, I have to change my mixed number into a fraction, and some of you probably don't remember, and that's okay. And those of you that do remember probably are like, oh, what do I do with that negative out there? That's okay too. We'll fix that. 3 times 2 is 6, so you multiply, and then you add. So 6, 7, 8. So you end up with -8/3 times 10 times 4 is 40 plus 1 is 41. So we have -8 times 41 over 3 times 10. Okay, this is where, remember I said if I can do some reducing ahead of time, I'm doing it. And this is why. I don't want to multiply 8 times 41. I'm hoping something nicer comes out of this. I know for a fact that 8 and 10 have a common factor of 2. If I did that, this would be -4, and this is going to be 5. -8 divided by 2 is -4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. A little bit nicer to work with. Does 3 go into 41? I know my divisibility rules. I know that if I add my 4 and my 1, that's 5. If 5 is divisible by 3, 41 is divisible by 3. It's not. I also know 5 does not go into 41 because 41 does not end in 0 or 5. So this is pretty much stuck the way it is. So I have -4 times 41, which I'm either going to do on a piece of scratch paper. So 41 times 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So I have a -164 over 3 times 5 is 15. So you do have some math facts you don't have to show, and then you have other things I need scratch paper for. I'm not done with this. Because it started in a mixed number, I have to end in a mixed number. So 164 divided by 15. I know 15 goes into 16 one time, with 1 left over, 4. So that would be 1 and 14/15. So -1 and 14/15. No, I made a mistake. That is not right. 10 and 14/15. Now we're into division. So division, but with a fraction, you've got to change this to multiplication, and then you need to do the reciprocal. So let's rewrite this. It's going to say -1/5, and then this becomes multiplication, and this becomes 4/7. So we end up with -1 times a +4 over 5 times 7. 5 doesn't go into 1 or 4, 7 doesn't go into 1 or 4, so I'm just going to do some multiplication. -4 over 35, and I'm done. I want to do that. I've set this one up. Okay, do that one extra step. Okay, you should have gotten -1/2 times 4/5. So now that is -1 times 4 and 2 times 5. This is one of those problems I'm going to do some reducing up front because I don't want to do as much multiplication and then division than I need to. 2 goes into itself once and into 4 2 times. So I end up with -1 times 2 is a -2 and 1 times 5 is a 5. Now, I'm going to just do a little sidebar over here. What if I hadn't done that? What if I just multiplied straight across? I would have had a -4 over 10. That reduces to this. If I divide this by 2 and I divide this by 2, I get back to that. It's just where in the problem did you divide by 2? So those were some really quick problems that we did to review multiplying and dividing fractions. Go ahead and rewatch it if you need to, but I am so glad that you showed up, because these are a little bit tricky and you might need a little refresher on how to do them. I hope you learned something, and remember, be kind to each other because we can always use a little more kindness in our lives. I'll see you again next time in our next lesson. Bye for now.